Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 4, is the last verse. The chapter is devoted to the yoga of wisdom. We have been told, all of you have been told, that karma must blend with vikarma in order to become akarma. Karma is your what leads you on, bringing all situations and circumstances, pleasure and pain. Karma is that which has given you embodiment. That karma process continues, but you become spiritually sensitive. You are focused on how to get away from karma process, how to destroy all karma so that you don't have to come back into the world of time and space. But first create some space in your mind to figure it out. Is it a desirable goal? That you have to have come to that maturity to understand that as long as you have the predicament of being a human personality, look into it more in a subtle way, what it is. Your physical body, bones, nervous system, brain. With the help of our progressive knowledge, try to see it as an iPad. One little iPad and goes on giving you constant millions of things. So no matter how many things the iPad gives, it is just a little thing. And we are dependent upon it, it is bad. Living, seeking happiness in the world is as ridiculous as trying to bring the world in your iPad. They flash out before your eyes, everything. Birds from Alaska, peacocks from Bombay. Friends and enemies all come out. But ultimately, if you want to relax, go to sleep, put the iPad back out. That's the same role. The soul has adopted an embodiment. It has found an iPad with nervous system, brain, all your experiences, the magic of the brain. Go into a medical surgery and see how when brain is being operated and the doctor goes on touching various centers, the whole body of the patient is connected to the brain. Not only the body, all your thoughts and imaginations coming from a little brain. Should it be this the status? Should it be the goal? Would you like to stay in this permanently? Generally, people like to hear the word, may you live on for 100 years. Old-time generosity, may you live on for 1,000 years. From practical point of view, that's absolutely live on. Because until you fulfill the purpose of your life is important in this world. So, the blessing, may you live on, means it allows you to have more opportunity for Godward movement. Let me not distract you. Now, coming back to the central point. So far you have been given, in order to be free of the karmic law, karmic bondage, what one must do is swadharma palan, doing duties that are in harmony with your personality. You automatically led to do that type of work if you are normal-minded. Your mind is not normal. Then you are looking for a job that will make you look much better and glorious and more famous. You are looking for a job that will give you quick money so that you can expect to have a holiday, vacation, and a nice time in retirement. So paradharma, one has to deal with two types of movements in life. One is drawing you to paradharma. Paradharma that's not agreeable to your spiritual evolution. It's leading you to distraction. You will be awakened in the course of time. And that's miserable. Another is leading you to swadharma. Swadharma will give you the possibility of improving your status, becoming more healthy, more psychologically normal, and moving to supernormal. It will give you a greater health. But when you come to that level of swadharma, you have before you two goals. One is being good and having done lot of virtuous deeds. You have accumulated positive karmas, called punya karmas. As a result of punya karmas, you will have a joyous experience after death called swarga. Normally translated as heaven. This is not the absolute heaven. It's called astral experience. Without the body, your mind continues to experience, and it is intense experience of pleasure. That's called people work for. And the mind is always given in all religions a kind of a comfort. That if you are doing good deeds, you will have in heaven, you will meet people whom you are being separated from, even your dogs and cats. You will miss nothing. Of course, heaven is described allegorically. Even the roasted fowls fly, so that we don't have to roast them. Different religions have worked differently. In Hindu religion, we have a lot of butter and Kshir Sagar. You can have all the ice cream you need. I'm joking. But after exhausting that karma, you have to come back. So that's called bhoga movement. Next, if you are doing swadharma, bhoga movement is very easy. You can secure your swarga and have good time. Another, which is the goal, moksha movement. Moksha, liberation. Now you are in a better position to follow the path that will lead you to liberation. If you are with swadharma, and you are in a better position. But how? If you blend in your duties, performance of duty, if you blend devotion to God, bhakti, meditation, vichar, inquiry that allows your mind to be clear, and discriminative understanding, who am I, begins to develop. Vairagya, dispassion, not to fall for things that are harmful for your spiritual growth as well as for your own health. Paropakar, doing good to others. And as this becomes joyous for you, then automatically you understand in order to be good to others, you have to be good to yourself also. If you are not good to yourself, then what? If you collect onion and garlic in your heart, so what will you give? You will share the garlic smell. Figure that, I would say. So when this is also called seva, serving God in others, and taking refuge in God. All these are called vikarmas, special attitudes adopted on your spiritual path. So you are blending your daily duties with these points that I have said. Gradually you are spicing up your swadharma. If you do, you become karma yogi. Otherwise you are simply doing good karma. Doing good karma is one thing. Being a karma yogi, pursuing the path of yoga of action. These subtle differences. Karma yogi now means you are settled within your heart, that you are not looking for keeping yourself confined to a world of time, space, causation, a world of www. Who am I? Why things happen? And where am I? Who, why, and where? People say they are there. I'm joking. So, having given you that understanding, with deeper, calm, relaxed mind, try to figure it out. The world will not give you perfection. But that doesn't mean that you will shut out your daily duties. You are hungry, think of the food being cooked. But that's in a different level. In spite of your practical needs and dependency on the world, internally a deep understanding must develop that this is not the goal, to stay with the body and go on facing the problems, looking at the hospitals. I'm joking. The whole world becomes a hospital. If you are with the body, the world acts like a hospital. Gives you hospitality. So, when you have blended karma with vikarma, doing your swadharma, your daily duties, automatically, if your mind becomes free from greed, anger, hate, as those points begin to diminish, you are aligning yourself to the right type of activity becomes easy for you. And the universal plan makes it faster. If you have the karma for being a teacher, is a swadharma, then you suddenly look up through the window and say, a new school is being built. Joking, not joking at the same time. The world presents miracles. And you become a karma yogi. That means while performing your actions, your duties, internally your heart becomes increasingly purified. Bhavana shuddhi. And your mind becomes filled with the light of knowledge, jnana. You become more and more involved in experiencing internal satisfaction, love of God, and of course, realizing who am I. Let me recite this mantra again. Shloka. Tasmad jnana sambhutam hritsam jnanasinatmanah chitvainam sanshayam yogam atishtottishta bharata. Therefore, O Bharata, that's the name for Arjuna. Bharata means one who is devoted to God, Godward mind. Bha, shining, light of lights. Rata, that's where you find your rasa. You find your rasa in God. And all the world rasa, you develop the skill to turn them into divine rasa. How can that be done? Just to give you some idea. Whatever duty you have to do, whether in the family, what helping children to grow, Even while watching the face of the children, how cute. Try to remember that cuteness comes from God, who makes beautiful eyes which are on shaky ground. Bring out such expressions of inner feeling. How cute. God is behind it. God is within you. Your whole body is the temple of God. And God is in all people around you. All this doesn't develop immediately, but gradually you begin to bring to your understanding and to your heart. And then you are, in that process, you are become a yogi. Now for you, there is no need to wait. How long I have to go on doing this? When will I have a vacation? That question doesn't arise. But when you are doing paradharma, when will I get my salary? And how will I plan for my trip? And so forth. Tasmadajnana sambhutam hitham jnanasinatmana chitvainam sanshayam yogam atishtottishta bharata. Therefore, O Bharata, use the sword of wisdom to destroy this doubt which is born of ignorance even within your own heart. And arise for the pursuit of yoga. Some points here. Sword of wisdom. Use the sword of wisdom. The mind-body complex is studied in Vedanta in the terms of sword being kept covered by sheath. But old time people were more fashionable, not one sheath, many sheaths, sheath after sheath. So when an old warrior had to take his sword out, he will remove the plastic paper. That being the sheath. So, every individual is a stretch package. And you have to bring out your sword, which really does the work of removing inimical forces, dark forces. And here dark forces means ignorance, avidya. In order to remove avidya, you have to have that type of understanding which acts like a sword. An understanding that makes you understand I am not the physical body. That one sheath is gone. But what sustains your physical body? Vital forces. I am not confined to the vital forces. What makes your vital forces operate? Mind. Mind and senses. Called manomaya kosha. So first we call annamaya kosha. Next pranamaya kosha. Manomaya kosha. Mind and senses. Now your understanding brings in your heart, I am not the mind, senses, that sheath. I am not that layer. Then comes intellect and ego layer, called Vijnanamaya Kosha. And if you are advanced, you begin to understand when you sleep, you are not with your ego. No matter how much you have loved it, how much you are identified with it, in sleep your ego is out. You have put it like sandals put under the bed. So therefore, I am not the Vijnanamaya. Then go one step further. Even in sleep, you go into a state of unconscious. You are caught by unconscious mind. So therefore, after sleep, you wake up, come back to the same illusion. That unconscious trap is called avidya, ignorance. That's called karan sharir, causal body. So, stripping all these layers from your package, now you discover, reveal, revelation. I am, that am I. I'm absolute. That I am is not a personality in the midst of so many things. Just like the sun is alone. But we look at on the earth, there are countless reflected suns and countless illuminations. There are so many. But with a mature mind, you understand all these many illuminations, they are in wrong package. Remove the layers of illusion. Every reflected sun is nothing but the sun. So that's called jnanasina, the sword of wisdom. So having taken the sword of wisdom, or having that view, that objective of separating the sword from these sheaths, layers of illusion, yogamatishta, become involved in integral yoga. Pursue the path of yoga. When you pursue the path of yoga, it always implies your action should be karma yoga. Your emotions must follow bhakti yoga, devotion. When you lead with, when you turn to your emotions, sometimes you can't handle them. But if you bring in God, therefore the moment there is distress, prayer helps a person fast. So, if that point is understood, you continue to deal with your emotions even when there is no need, you are not under stress, you are happy, joyous, but now you feel it is the best opportunity not to be forced to pray. But let me pray and enjoy it positive. To see that all future troubles are avoided. How many are avoided? Don't care for that. And with increasing faith, so you are dealing with your sentiments in a profound way. And that extends in the world in the form of art, dance, music. Match up to any one of All these activities that will help you in your Godward movement. Here again you have double way. Enrich yourself and share with others. Be a bhakta devotee, help others to develop, they should develop love of God. If you continue like that, and your heart is working in that direction, now it is a purposeful movement of your sentiments. Otherwise, your sentiments are just cents and pennies. Next point, will aspect. Always there is a mental decision. That willing itself requires a strength. Otherwise, we decide something and we are shaken very easily. The willing movement, instead of allowing the mind to will for things that will degrade you, have a right type of will. So in your willing process, bring God. What should I do? And behind that, let it be His will, not mine. Be a little shrewd. Because your will is weak. So let His will dominate. So allow to understand that no matter how cleverly you decide something, behind your cleverness, behind your decision, there is a divine hand. So the more you recognize that your act, you will be able to do your duties with greater precision and skill. And your plans will be blessed by God's hand, God's will. So if you begin to work with your will with that type of project, with that type of view, that let my will be in tune with God's will, then that's called Raj Yoga. Now you are treading the royal path. That's the beauty. If you have royal path that can go, you can go dancing on the path. And finally, all the intellectual insights that you gather with great patience to understand scientific formulas, so much progress, to understand what will happen to if you were on the moon, what will be the difference from the earth and the moon. The mind gets curious. You spend hours to understand it. I'm joking. Not joking at the same time. Everything has its own purpose. Now let that type of curiosity of your mind turn towards figuring out what is my real identity. Who am I? How much potentiality is there that we are not utilizing or unraveling? So that type of, your intellect begins to move towards that direction. In simple way, inquiry into who am I? Understanding that you are eternal self. And intellect to go after understanding I am, that am I. But there also you understand the same intellect begins to bring you a knowledge. As long as your mental set is limited, trapped by karma granthi, knot of action, kama, the knot by bondage created by desire. As long as the mind is trapped by that, you are unable to see your intellect operate in a profound way. Put it in a simple way, your intellect acts like a larva or a caterpillar. As long as you are dealing with the world, all the intellectual knowledge of today that makes you so proud, come 50 years later and talk to people. I will say, where were you? Such a dull wit. If you don't understand, it doesn't feel easy to understand, then think of some person from Shakespeare time comes in modern time. What type of world? The world he saw and the world now it is. What a big difference. Now the intellect that's working as a normal caterpillar intellect with so many feet behind it, gathering so many informations, how to turn that intellect in a direction that, as if a butterfly emerges out of it. If your intellect was a crow, swan will emerge out of it. And both aspects will continue, but the profounder aspect begins to dominate your personality. That's called viveka buddhi, discriminative intellect. So now therefore 4 things have changed in you in a spontaneous way. You don't really exert for it. But if you follow your satsanga and sadhana in a correct way, automatically these 4, your actions will begin to develop karma yoga movement. Your sentiments will come under bhakti movement, devotional movement. Your decisions, deciding strengths, will come under Raj Yoga movement, yoga of meditation. And you are trying to understand things of this world. Will switch to who am I, and will turn into Jnana Yoga movement. When these 4 begin to operate, now you are a totally different personality. The scriptures name such a person a hero. Be a spiritual hero. And also scriptures point out, among thousands of people, only a few go after something profound. Among thousands of those, only a few have this heroic quality. That's not to discourage, but rather to encourage you. So don't be ordinary, become extraordinary. Be a hero. Uttishta. Stand up. Arise. Om Tat Saditi. Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Supanishatsu. Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Jnana Vibhaga Yogo Nama Chaturtho Dhyaya. Thus in the Upanishad of the Gita, the knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, the scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Shri Krishna and Arjuna, ends the 4th chapter entitled Jnana Vibhaga Yoga, the yoga of wisdom. And we are now entering to the 5th chapter. The chapter is known as Karma Sannyasa Yoga. The yoga of renunciation of karma. And that is a very profound topic. Arjuna uvacha sannyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha shansasi yatreya etayorekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. O Krishna, you teach renunciation of action and at the same time the yoga of action. Please tell me decisively which is the better of the two. Early stage of listening creates a confusion, because at one time the scripture says, your whole purpose of your life is to develop samatha, equanimity, nishkamata, desirelessness, nirvikarata, being unshaken by anger, hate, greed, all these impurities. That's what you want. Then the confusion starts. If that is what I want, then why are you asking me to go to your job? And do your duties? And that point has to be understood that without swadharma, your being involved in swadharma that I have already explained, the type of duty that is in harmony with you. That again, movement is progressive. As you begin to develop integration in your personality, you match up yourself with the type of activity that is more enriching to you. Outwardly, you may be in the same job, but your internal quality changes and its effect on others changes. That goes on in a progressive way. So it is not a question of deciding which is my swadharma, which job will be better, all that. Coming back to the question, this main point that Arjuna now wants to have explanation. Since it is the mental state of inner peace that is more important than all karma-based attainments, then why are you asking me to stay with karma? The solution is, unless you stay with karma, you cannot have that internal purity. Focusing on the internal is known as sannyasa. Focusing on action is known as karma. Now, which is to be done? Should a person do karma or adopt sannyasa? Answer is karam sannyasa. Jnaya cha nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kankshasi nirdvando hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. I slipped into third verse. Let me go back to the second verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyasah karma yogascha nishreya sakara ubhau tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. Shri Bhagavan Krishna replied, both renunciation of action and karma yoga lead one to the highest goal, that's liberation. However, of these two, karma yoga is better than the path of renunciation. Now we have to understand the simple point behind it. You have 2 points before you: following the path of jnana or following the path of karma. In terminology, which is better? The path of jnana is called Sankhya. The path of karma is called yoga. Which is better, Sankhya or yoga? To give you a very crude illustration. Path of nourishment, think of your diet. There are certain special spicing to your food that will give you deeper nourishment. They are well calculated. And simple food, same food with spicing becomes more active. Now the question, which is better? Should I take only the spices? Or should I take the food? Theoretically, the spices are more important. I'm talking about herbal spices than the food you take. But that doesn't mean that you are take the food away and start just taking spices. The inner qualities are much better than all that your actions around you. But if you simply adopt go after inner qualities, you will not develop them. You will be simply working under the illusion called hypocrisy. It will be a false movement. But when you have both, in spite of the fact the spices are greater than in spite of the fact that jnana movement is greater than your karma, you have to perform your karma in order to attain success in jnana. So therefore, karma in practice is better. Never encourage people to stop their activity. You can inspire them to do the right type of thing, go to their swadharma, but never stop them from, never give the project that you will have the opportunity of doing meditation from morning till night, day after day. I have found a wonderful cave for you. So practice all those internal qualities all the time you have. So, with this we will conclude. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhana Urvarukva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyama Mritat Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Om Shanti Shanti Hari Om Om Namah Shivaya Shri Krishnaya Namah.